Nyingma Jimbo, so the Yimi Yang, Zoni Molan Jimbo, Abjada, Bagardang, Anzando, Yermado, Tumba, Tuji, Janla, Kishan, Tsar. 是我们拒绝安吉保障的第三三级跟进我你让神去跟我神动的把这位来嘛能来给相子。Good afternoon. Welcome to the new space, teaching and meditation. Today we're going to meditate, silent meditation. Before we do that, I have some teachings. Usually with work and family obligations, people find it difficult to maintain their spiritual practice. The condition from these obligations make it difficult because they are more powerful than our minds. But when you feel a strong emotion arising, as you know, actually there are many ways to control it. There are some temporary solutions that you can apply, and there is an ultimate solution that you can practice. If you can do that, your emotions will settle down and eventually they will disappear. That is the benefit of practice Dharma. But for most, what we think of is the practice of Dharma is actually superficial, which means our actions look like spiritual actions, but when we check our motivation, we find that it is the opposite of our spiritual actions. So without checking, we can never be sure if what we're doing is Dharma or not. Spiritual life is a mental thing, not much of like physical thing. Therefore, the Kardamba master Ndromtomba was saying, if you don't change your mental attitude, which are your sort of, what do you call it, old habits of attachment and grasping at objects, then no matter what you do, you will not find peace of mind. If you don't change your mind, no matter how many sort of external changes you make, you will never progress along the spiritual path. That's why, as I said, spiritual practice is very much not, external thing. It's mental thing. So I think this is very important to understand. Superficial practice means when we are superficially happy, we talk about our practice, right? And we say, oh, this is great. Oh, this is good idea. This is very helpful. Blah, blah, blah. We say very nice things like that. And we sort of discussing like all kinds of idea that, great sort of enthusiasm. But the moment something bad happens, for example, the moment we sort of encounter difficulty, we don't have any from our practice at that moment. Our mind is like completely empty and it's like very dark, at that time. Means no control, no wisdom, no solution, no meditation, etc. So this shows our practice is superficial. Of course, everything is wonderful when we are happy, Dharma practice is for something like very strong, like emotion arising or very difficult situation. Our goal, practice Dharma is like how to handle, how to control this kind of circumstances, right? So superficial is not good. And if we approach our spiritual practice the way we do like neutral things, then we will never develop our wisdom. In fact, mystics on the spiritual path are actually much worse than mystics in our worldly life. Teachers always say that. That's why you need a good teacher, you need instructions, you need learn how to practice Dharma, because if you take a wrong path, it will be very difficult and dangerous. Therefore, before we start, usually teachers say that, we start practicing Dharma, we have to know where we are and our sort of present sort of situation. With that understanding, our practice will be very helpful. And then we can see the necessity for practice Dharma, and we can see our goal sort of more clearly with our own experience. Otherwise, how do we know if we are on the right path? If we are acting out of ignorance of the nature of the path, all our spiritual efforts will lead us nowhere. Ndrom Tomba, Kardamba Master, great teacher, he was saying these kind of things. To experience satisfaction, freedom, and enjoyment, we must bring our own wisdom into play and try to be aware of our own sort of behavior and, more importantly, our motivation for doing what we do. Always, whatever you do, before, you have to check your motivation. If we do that, we will make our power for the precious human life really worthwhile. And when we change our attitude, you know this, our view of the world change as well. Our view of world comes from our minds, according to Buddhism, especially Mahayana Buddhism. It's a sort of reflection of our mind. Therefore, we need meditate. And to discover sort of universal love within our minds. Otherwise, if we are not free of attachment, means, for example, like you give something to, somebody today, and tomorrow, you will be thinking like, I wish I hadn't given him or her that. This kind of giving, has nothing whatsoever to do with your practice, right? So we might see people making charity and think how sort of wonderfully generous they are. But all we see is the external action. We can see their inner motivation, which can be totally selfish, or which can be totally loving and caring, all of that. We don't know. That's why Mahayana, point of view, how do you know you are practice Dharma or not? How do you know? I don't know, right? I know my motivation. So come here, you come here, I come here. Did you check your motivation before you come here? Why you come here? What is for? So anyway, we talk a lot about negative things all the time. All the time. And I have found that if we talk too much about the negative side of things, students freak out. Not all of them, but many do. Because many students asked me when I have interviewed. They say, maybe you will think, this teacher, emphasized the negative too much. Why doesn't he talk more about positive? Because Buddhism is not only about delusion and suffering and all these negative things. Why does this teacher, he teach us this negative stuff day after day, all the time, right? Well, because the thing about Buddhism is that before you can put yourself into positive path to liberation, you have to know how your negative mind works and how to change your mind and diminishing your negative sort of emotions and motivations. Otherwise, how can you correct your actions and put yourself onto the right path? So this is the thing. To practice Dharma is you have to start from where you are. And base any practice that you do on that foundation. If you try to abandon your basic nature and try to change yourself according to this great idea, from teachings of Mahayana Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, whatever, or other things. If you do that, you have no understanding of the essence of spiritual path. I think that's very dangerous. You can hear these fantastic ideas or instructions from the Buddhist teachings and great sort of solutions to your negative emotions. However, if you try to put them into your practice and attain liberation right there, that's just not true. You have to change your mind slowly and very slowly in order to get there, in order to attain this liberation. If you have no patience for doing that, then you don't understand the nature of spiritual path. If you understand your negative emotions, if you know how to eliminate them, then you will know how long it takes to attain enlightenment. When we start teaching Buddhism to beginners, we don't start by talking about these holy things. The first thing we explain is the basic nature of your present mind and what is going on sort of right now, right? We start just there. We don't teach you that, okay, Buddha is up there and you just have to believe in him and then you will be fine. You don't have to take your responsibility. You're no matter how much your negative thoughts and strong emotion, as long as you believe in there, you will be fine. We don't say this kind of things. We don't teach like that. As you know, we just start with our sort of personal situations and our sort of these destroyers, which are, we call it afflictions, like, desire, anger, jealousy, pride, and ignorance, destroyers. First, that's why we all the time talking about negative things, because we have to recognize these strong negative emotions. These are the destroyer. These are this, And then once we understand that, then we talk about solutions to these sort of negative emotions. And then when we're talking about the solution, we have different methods, different instructions, because each person's negative mind is different. And Different mind has, experience sort of different problems. Therefore, different solutions are necessary, For example, we have the student practice Vajrasattva is one teaching, and but each people, when I have, when we talk about their experience in practice, I give them a little bit different direction, different sort of instructions. People are very different. That's why, in Buddhist, very first teaching, you see the Four Noble Truths, right? He just start talking about suffering. Buddha Shakyamuni was, 35 years old, attaining enlightenment, and he didn't teach right away. For 49 days, he didn't teach. After that, then he went to Saranath, and then he started his teaching. First teaching was Four Noble Truths. So you see, what is the first noble truth? It is suffering, truth of suffering. So, he gives a sort of general explanation of how karma, or karma means action, functions in everyday life. For example, if someone, that's how he does, if someone describes your own situation, how can you reject that, right? Hey, you are suffering. What is the cause? This kind of things. How can we reject that? Oh, I don't want to listen to that, because you are just you teach about these things, negative things. I don't want to hear. I mean, that's our life. How can we reject that? If somebody's telling you the truth, the correct way to explain the details of your mind and your actions, then how can we say it is difficult to understand, or it is difficult to, listen? So anyway, we don't try to teach for beginners who are not ready to listen to certain teachings, like emptiness, like this, intermediate stage between death and rebirth, and etc. These things. Because if you are not, I'm not saying like you, but if somebody is not ready for a certain practice, then there is no way they can sort of integrate it with their mind. And if you try to, you might end up thinking, oh, this method, this teaching doesn't work. But the problem is not with the method, I think. It is with your trying to sort of implement something for which you are not ready. So you don't know how to integrate that idea, that teaching with your mind and put it into your experience. That's the problem. But we can teach people about problems they face every day in their lives and the nature of true human suffering. So you can continue to lead a normal life, but at the same time try to reduce your negative emotions and try to observe the nature of your dissatisfied mind, and as much as you can. And enjoy your worldly life as much as you can. Very important. But at the same time, understand the nature of your enjoyment, the nature of both the object you are enjoying and the mind that is experiencing that enjoyment, which is impermanence again. So if you understand all this sort of, deeply, that is your daily practice, I think. That is your daily practice. Buddhist teachings say that we have to liberate ourselves. Then also people think, okay, we liberate ourselves, then why do we need a follow teacher? But we need somebody to teach us how to put our mind onto right path, so that the right result will appear, will happen. So most when we meditate, for example, we don't just enjoy. We always think in the result. Whatever your goal is, maybe somebody has a very high goal, like thinking about enlightenment. Somebody thinking maybe like your goal is, I want a peace of mind. Or maybe, I have this problem. What is the solution? So that I will control my negative emotions, so that I will be happy. Whatever your goal, you always think in your result, not your meditation. And then you have, like your worries, your meditation. Of course, you have very difficult meditation all the time, because this old habit, what Buddhists call is karma. But that's fine, just keep going, I think. Just keep going. I always say your meditation is like gift. Gift. When you start meditate, you check your motivation, and then when you finish, you dedicate. Right? Dedication is very. When you dedicate all whatever your goal, maybe all sentient beings or whatever you dedicate. After that, you don't have anything. Just think, okay, it's like you give me something, or this is gift. So this, you give me this. This is mine. So then you don't have anything. You can't keep that. Oh, still this is mine. Like that. Then it helps less expectation. Just do your daily practice and then just dedicate it, and that's it. And then just do next day like that. There's no expectation. Then for sure, your meditation will get better and better. So, most of the time, the result is just here. Result is just here. But we are looking for it over there. Right? In completely the sort of opposite direction. So all you need to do is just work with your own mind. That's all. Don't think about, like this holy and great, these ideas, like, oh, this like omniscient, wisdom or clairvoyant or whatever. Eventually you can fly, Malarifa flew from there or there. All of that, that's just another delusion, another ignorance. To me, is, eventually, like when you attain enlightenment, people say, okay, this worldly life is very difficult. I have this problem, I have that problem. This worldly life, I'm try to abandon, all of that, right? But then people think, oh, I'm a Buddhist. What is different? If you have that mind, if I'm a Buddhist, I am a great practitioner. I want, eventually, this attain liberation, enlightenment. That's another attachment. All these enlightened beings, great teachers, they already abandoned Buddhism. Buddhism is just a temporary path. That's it. But when you get the other side, then you just abandon everything. But we are not there yet. So therefore, we should we when we meditate, just to do it. Just to meditate. Don't think about the result. Set of your time. And then do it. And then after you're done, dedicate. That's it. And then you start that again next day. That's how we do it. Silent meditation. Meditate for a few minutes, okay? What I'm saying today here is I'm not saying that these certain teachings, you are not ready for this thing. I'm not saying that. But all I'm saying is we have to start exactly where you are. That's it. How is your mind? What is this? What you have to check. You have to check yourself, your mind, your emotions, your negative, your positive, whatever, wherever, where you have to start right there, not jump somewhere. So that's why, today, for example, when we meditate, maybe just close your eyes for a few minutes, and then, this is how you do it. Take a, close look at whatever you consider your biggest problem to be. Okay? And try to shut down your senses, perceptions, as much as you possibly can. Remain completely silent. Okay? Because this, the superficial sense perception prevents you from seeing the reality of how sort of discursive thought comes and goes. So when you shut down your senses, your mind becomes more conscious and functions better. Because when your superficial senses are busy, your mind is totally preoccupied by the way your senses are interpreting things. Therefore, you don't see reality. So you should stop your sense perception and silently watch your mind and, at certain times, a silent mind is important. Silent doesn't mean closed, but the silent mind is in alert, awakened mind. So investigate your mind. Where do you hold your biggest problem? Where? Whatever, emotions, negative thoughts, whatever, biggest problem. Every day, like controls your mind. Investigate where, And if you can't find the thoughts that this problem, then just relax there. When you actually investigate like that, and then maybe you will find something, and then recognize that, and where you hold it. And sometimes you can't find like that. You can't find, then you see this peaceful, what do you call it? Very like mindfulness, actually. You can see, and then just to relax there, That's your meditation, right? That's your meditation. And if your problem arises, when you do this silent, like investigate your mind, just watch how it comes and how it goes. So this meditation really, takes you to like, insight. Even though like when you open your eyes, you can see all these objects outside these things. But if you focus on the inner, practice, you have no attachment to this object. So that's what great practitioners always do. They can see everything. They can see beautiful things, ugly things, whatever. They can see it, but there's no leveling, there's no attachment because they're focused on their inner, the nature or the reality. And when you see this this problem, something like problem arise in your mind, when you see it, don't sort of react emotionally, So try to let it go and, let it come. So practicing in this way, you can see that the sort of unskillful mind cannot face any problem. But your silent mind of skillful wisdom can sort of face any kind of problem and control it. And you can see how most of your ideas are kind of nonsense, silly, but how your mind makes them important. The silent meditation can teach you that things. Oh, I thought this is very big things, big problem, but it's actually nothing, right? When you meditate, like, by checking like this, you end up with, end up with nothingness in your mind. That's teachers say. Because you can see that all this, your ideas, these emotions that are in your mind are actually nothing. That's why when you meditate like that, you will see nothingness. That's why nothing. So if you can sit at any time with a silent mind for just few minutes, you will be able to observe the moment-to-moment movement of your emotions without getting sad. And when you investigate your mind thoroughly, completely, you can see clearly that both your negative and positive thoughts come and go, and they disappear all together. That is the silent wisdom experience. When they disappear, then you just relax there. Then you just relax there. That is the silent wisdom experience. And in the silent mind, you will find peace. You will find joy and satisfaction. This is very good. This is it. Or I want just this. It's very simple. It's very simple. But don't just believe me. Experience it for yourself, whether it is true or not. So first, like, you let arise your negative or biggest problem, like emotions, thoughts, whatever. You let that arise, right? And then you sort of investigate it, where it comes, it goes, All this negative, positive, then all disappear together, and then that's it. That's silent mind wisdom. You experience that silent mind wisdom. Then you will find this peace, which is nothingness. So observing and investigating your mind is important, and constantly, wherever you go, at any time, you can experience sort of this energy. It's always with you, and the joy of silent experience comes from nothing but on your mind. Therefore, teachers always say, therefore, joy is always with you. Okay? So, few minutes. So have a good and enjoy silent meditation for few minutes, okay? We'll see. You don't just believe me. You will experience if you meditate like that, right? What you need is like you need like follow and listen these instructions, and then you will see. You will see. This means like you're going to work with your mind. Mind means like actually big subject. There are so many things, but this moment, just a silent mind, which is like whatever arises, and then don't sort of ignore that. Recognize it. Don't react emotionally, but recognize, and then you will see it disappear there if you don't really follow your thoughts one after another, and then disappear. Then just meditate there for a few minutes, please. Okay. That's good. That's enough for today. Do you have good meditation? Yes? 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 See? It doesn't matter. You have good meditation, not good meditation. It doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter. The matter is you have to set up time. Do it every day. That's it. If you practice today, don't practice tomorrow. Never. You never see the reality. Never develop your wisdom, mind. Never. Believe me. People think that, it's so hard to meditate. Oh, it's very good. That's not the point. Set up your time each and every day, 1 hour or 30 minutes, whatever, right? You have iPhone. Do you have phone? You download the singing bowl, meditation bowl. You set up time. And then within 1 hour, doesn't matter. Sometimes I have, lots of thoughts. I meditate like this. Sometimes I recite prayers and this visualization like that. Sometimes I just nothing. I just meditate and I'm thinking. Oh, my mind is all over, wanders all over. I'm all over. And then suddenly I recognized I'm not meditating, right? That happened to you, I'm sure. Sometimes you're thinking, work. Sometimes you're thinking your family. Sometimes you don't have to think, but it's naturally comes in your mind. Thinking about dinner, what should I cook, and think about, I thought today, lots of snow. I thought, by the way, lots of people came. I thought maybe we don't have, it's difficult to, drive here, but, so all kind of things we think, right? That's okay. That's fine. But if not okay, if you practice today, don't practice tomorrow, then no point. Otherwise, if you try to meditate every single day, then believe me, eventually you will understand how works your mind and you know how to take care of your life. And less complain, not blame others. Blame your mind. Everything, the creation, right? Creator, your mind is the creator. Blame your mind. And you will understand how control the negative, the difficult situation. If you search inside, not outside. Search inside, you will understand, believe me. And then you know how to take care of your life, how to take care of your mind. Enjoy, okay? Fun. Very important. Life is very short. There's no time to waste, okay? Every day, fun is very important. Enjoy is very important. At the same time, taking care of your mind is important. That's all. Now dedication. Closing prayers. May I attain in each and every life the sublime virtues of existence and peace. May I pursue the followers' mindset altruism, working for the welfare of others on a vast scale. Through this very merit of mine, single sentient beings eliminate all forms of negativity and practice virtues forevermore. May Supreme Precious Bodhicitta take birth where it has not arisen, where it has arisen, it never went, but continue to grow forevermore. May I, all in my life, no matter where I'm born, obtain the 7 qualities of the upper realms of existence. May I meet the Dharma immediately after taking birth, and have the freedom to practice perfectly. May I please the Sublime Guru, day and night dedicate myself to the Dharma. By realizing Dharma and practicing its innermost essence, may I cross the ocean of conditioned existence in this very life. May I teach the Sublime Dharma perfectly, and never become weary and tired of the ability of others in samsara. By my own impartial and all comments and activities to the benefit of others, may all attain.